The Western system is well captured via Lord Buddha's life story. So, Lord Buddha was predicted as a child to become a monk to help many suffering beings of this world. So, Buddha's father did not want him to become a monk, but wanted him to become a king. So, his father fabricated his environment and gave him pristine peace and happiness and wealth and abundance and joy around him while hiding and concealing the reality of the world of death and suffering. But eventually, Buddha somehow figured out the suffering world and realized that his father had fabricated his environment in order for him to become a king. Once Buddha broke free from the fabricated environment his father had created for him to become a king, when Buddha broke free of that and realized this world is full of death, suffering, poverty, sickness, unhappiness, he decided to then become a monk, and he gave up his kingly position and became a monk, which eventually he ended up becoming Lord Buddha and giving all his enlightenment teaching that has spread across the world and is helping millions and billions of people even today. And without his teaching, it is unimaginable to live in this hyper materialistic programmed reality that we are in. And without Buddha's teaching, it would be unimaginable to understand or even perceive that an ego world exists. So, as the Western world on the outside, it seems pristine and perfect with a lot of rules and regulation and protection policies and science and evolution and prosperity and technology and cleanliness and just the whole Western system and culture that the Western population are fed is actually totally false and fake. Because once you enter into a difficult situation, you will really realize how broken the system is, and there is really no one to support you, and no one is there for you. But the system is only like a mock system. It's a fake system that it's not really there. It doesn't really exist to solve problems for its citizen, but it's just there to give itself a good name, and it's just based on ego. So, as Buddha's life environment was faked by his father to control the outcome of Buddha's fortune or life for him to become a king and not a monk, similarly, the elites in the Western world have faked this environment and made it into like this advanced, prosperous Western system for its citizens so that the citizen will not become a monk or will not attain their spirituality, but they will just be like the king model of like superficiality and ruling and the most powerful, the most educated, the most prettiest, the most cleanest, the best and the highest. So the Western population is taught to aspire towards like kingship and not towards spirituality of becoming a monk and learning and going through suffering and understanding the suffering of this world. So Buddha's story is a perfect example of the West. If the Western population do not wake up to the mock Western system that they are living in, the superficial facade that they are a part of, if they do not wake up to that and understand the deep underlying suffering and death that is so pervasive in the background, in the Western, actually it is worst in the West, the darkness that exists in the West, it just tops everything. It's like the worst in the universe, not just worst in this whole planet, but the darkness of this whole universe is like concentrated in the West. So actually, the Western system is extremely dark, and people have been kept away from that and given this perfect fake mock reality so that they will never find out. The Western mock system is basically a cattle herd system for its Western population, because the Western population is part of the Whore of Babylon template that is based on consumerism and not spirituality. So the Western system has very less to do with spirituality and more with technology, evolution, entertainment, fashion, movies, consumerism, big house, big car, high positions, job, tone abs, skinny, fat. It has to do with the Whore of Babylon model or the ego model, anything that is non-spiritual. That's what the Western system is about. And if people do not wake up to the system that they are a part of, which is the darker system of the entire universe, is concentrated in the West. So they have to wake up. In the Western system, your peace, prosperity, cleanliness, all of this superficial ego-based identification has its own price to pay, because you are actually supporting a very dark beast that is based on pedophilia, eating children, raping people, kidnapping, murder, experimentation, drugs, alcohol trade, disobedience to God, the same people that crucified the Son of God, Jesus Christ. So that's the energy you are supporting, and that's the energy that you are a part of, because they are giving you, let's say, prosperity, money, and security in exchange for your energy, so that they are so that these dark forces can exist and rule via the Western system. The Western system can be seen as a host, or the Western civilization or the Western citizens can be seen as a host for the extremely dark forces, because the Western population can be sold any concept, any idea, and they will buy it without thinking and without questioning and without they'll just buy any new work idea. They'll buy any new technology. They'll buy into any new celebrity, new singers. They'll go running after any new movie. They'll obsess about any book. They'll buy any fashion. They'll get into any new interior decoration. They'll go and line up and buy products. And you can sell the Western population anything, where, because the Western population is totally asleep and they are usually thoughtful. If the Western population don't go through their awakening or don't understand the extreme dark spiritual battle that we are a part of, and a lot of people are fighting and giving testimony and disclosures for all the horrific experiences that they have been through, and they have been put through these unbelievable horrific scenarios in order to give testimony to the people, to help them wake up, to make them see what they are supporting and what they are a part of, because ultimately you will be judged for your actions and where you have spiritually aligned to, and where you have given your energy to, what you have fed and what you have allowed to grow in this world. So you will be held accountable for those things, and you will possibly also be given recognition. How Buddha's life was fabricated by his father by giving him the most pristine world, but Buddha eventually just woke up and broke free from that binding by his father. And that can also be seen as a demonic attack or a demonic intervention, that the Satan himself is coming through Buddha's father and fabricating his environment so that he may not see and understand the suffering of this world, so that Buddha cannot ultimately do his real spiritual work that he is born for. So this scenario can be easily channeled into Buddha's father by Satan and the demonic dark forces, which Buddha was able to break free from and see suffering in this world to finally go through an awakening and achieve enlightenment. Satan can use materialism or uses materialism such as wealth to influence people, or beauty to influence people, to seduce with sexuality. So Satan is uses a lot of the material based stuff to influence humans, influence the environment, in order to gain the results that he wants, to perpetuate his satanic reality. But as humans, we have to understand and break free from the traps of Satan, because Satan is very busy and he's putting traps in your life 24/7. And that is the truth. He is putting traps in your life 24/7, and you have to wake up and understand the spiritual nature of this reality. Once you acclimate to the spiritual battle that we are really part of, take time to listen to testimonies, open your heart, and be a believer and not looking for fake evidence that doesn't exist. You have to understand what each of us are giving testimony for, because these things we are speaking of and giving testimony of is very spiritual in nature, and it's really hard to give you a scientific evidence, which is like the programming that the Western population has given. It's like scientifically proven. That's one of that can be seen as a programming or a psyop. So it's really hard to grasp deeper and larger spiritual concepts, but you have to study and learn and rewire your brain, deprogram from this crazy reality that we live in. Like, for example, when Jesus was born on earth and did his spiritual mission, most of the people did not believe in. I think the minority was believing and teaching his work. So even when Jesus physically incarnated in this world and performed his spiritual mission, people did not believe him. So it's really difficult to convey spiritual information, to get people to see what we are doing, to get them to understand, so that they can believe and be saved. It's really difficult to get people to make them hear, to make them see, to understand the word of God, to help them understand the spiritual process that we are a part of, so that they do not have to go through the crazy punishment that Satan will go through. These non-believers will go through the same thing.